I had the pleasure of meeting him in person, not only once but twice. One at SIGGRAPH in LA and recently in London. He has an amazing energy and passion for AEC Tech. Is currently partner at Foster's R&D, Applied R&D, and I've been looking forward to host you. And one of the thing really loved about Applied R&D Group is the spectrum of solutions you develop from, like be it Hydra for GPU simulations till fabrication. So really understanding the domain and building solutions tailored to the practice. So curious to know what is the thinking behind that, how you develop those skills, and for a young Mario's watching this, what would be your advice? So thanks a lot for being on the show.
No, no. Thank you for the invite. And I'm sorry I canceled a couple of times already, but now we're doing this for real. I guess also it was very nice meeting you in SIGGRAPH, and maybe that's gonna be one of the points that we're gonna go through, like how we kind of as an industry we gain knowledge from other domains, which I think for our group and for me personally, it's like very important and non-negotiable for building up a career and actually helping our industry. Um, but I guess, I mean, you said it very well already. Like the team that we have here at Foster is kind of the applied R&D team covers a wide range of expertise. At the moment, it just in the beginning it was just complex geometry problems that architects had when they tried to not to create, let's say, the form itself, because I mean, 3, 3D modeling tools or content creation tools gives you this opportunity, especially when there are tools that are for the industry, for the movies industry, CGI, let's say, software. But also, like, kind of, how can you get these geometries and break them down to parts that can be manufactured, assembled, they're viable economically, etc. So I guess like that was the first point of contact for this team, and it goes like way, way back before I even joined the practice. I wasn't even in uni back then when they started the team. But hopefully now we have expanded our expertise into five other domains that primarily have to do, with performance and how this affects our buildings, how we can provide, quick feedback to our designers, and in a sense, promote collaboration between disciplines, between our designers, between other disciplines, between external, let's say, stakeholders, and then how we can communicate our design ideas like in an immersive way. XR, VR technologies, how we can provide this possibility of not only to visualize, let's say, designs, but actually design within these systems. Um, and obviously, how you leverage machine learning and artificial intelligence, which is a big hot topic of the times, not only for our industry, I think for everyone. Um, how you can leverage this and enhance the capabilities of the designers, which I can certainly say that it's a very exciting time to be in the technology field.
Yeah, it's even like being aware about what are the solutions out there and
Hmm.
constantly keeping up to date with the ML research is a like it requires so much time and dedication. Like there's so many new cutting edge technology from nerf to Gaussian splatting, and every year it's pushing the boundaries. So
Hmm.
uh,
No, definitely. I mean, it is a job on its own. I mean, that is the research part of the team. It's applied research and development. Um, so we have to look out there to see what's available and how we can bring this into our workflows, how we can bring this technology into, other packages that we have. And obviously the applied part of the title of our group, of the name of our group, is like it has to have a practical application or design tasks, right? Otherwise, what is the meaning of what we're doing? And I guess it's funny, like it's a more like of an anecdote in this team. Like every single member of the team has created tools for many
mhm.
platforms or standalone platforms in them. In the past, we all think, oh yeah, this is a very nice tool. It's gonna work so well, like people are gonna embrace it, etc. But at the end of the day, it's just our impression. So we have created, like I personally created a couple of tools that no one used. It's just only myself. They were doing something useful, but part of the kind of let's say journey to understand how to create applications for someone is to understand if they really need it.
Mhm. I think if you crack that formula, that's like a big unlock, because we have seen so many like cool tools in the
Hmm.
industry, but tools with higher adoption or tools with ROI or genuine value is like
Hmm.
super difficult to crack. So any
Hmm.
wisdom throughout the years, like which you got, where you now approach development differently than you used to be?
Um, I think that again, I'll come back to what I just mentioned, really, which I think is very important to. I mean, skills. I think you can build if you have the patience and the time, or invest a little bit of more time. And that's what I did, and I think that's what most of the members of the team did already. We really focused on building up our skill set, picking up new things, learning new programming languages, looking at what is out there. Obviously, I mean, Foster and Partners gave us this opportunity by investing into technology and saying, okay, there's something there. We need to embrace technology. So yeah, and a group of that sort is kind of valuable, which is great. But also, it requires going outside your comfort zone, I guess.
Mm,
And again, the conferences are very important for us to get knowledge and bring it back to the practice, to our team, and to the practice. But I would say that as a team, we have embraced a little bit more traditional ways of software development in the past, let's say 5, 6 years, which is very beneficial for us uh, to maintain, the quality of our in-house applications and actually understand what are the implications of code changes or of future requests that come or of like
mm,
bugs that appear and how we can maintain those. Um, Again, it's not a software company or anything. It's just, but I think it's very important to have this control, and to have this control because there are going to be other people joining our team, so they have to understand what we're working on. So how are these people going to pick up, development work, which I guess also it's something that doesn't really happen in architecture at the moment.
mm,
Um, how you onboard, young professionals, young architects to the knowledge that all these people that are there already have, and how you kind of disseminate this knowledge. Uh, but I'm very hopeful that this is going to be handled at some point, kind of not automatically, but there's going to be a method where you can actually, teach uh, the junior staff, like transfer all this experience that the senior staff have to the junior members, I guess.
and I see. I'm curious to know if what are your like fun memories at your uni in Athens and at UCL. It could be
Um,
good or bad.
yeah, so like, so yeah, I studied architecture to begin with. Um, in Athens, then the school is quite traditional in a sense. But I was always like, I kind of understood that I think it was year two that I understood that I'm more interested in geometry and the relationships of numbers and, how, numbers can create form, and more like bottom up approaches that are top down, uh, rather than traditional architecture. I mean, I really appreciate like design, and I do think I still design in some way. But I knew on the second year of my studies, I was like, yeah, I like geometry more. I should find a way to kind of fulfill this thirst that I had for creating things procedurally, I would say. So this is where I kind of started diving into what was available at that point, which was really Rhino script with Visual
Mm-hmm.
Basic and generative components, and then it was yeah, I mean then it was like Grasshopper, like was called explicit history back then. So this is what that was my first like kickoff with um, let's say how you I don't know how it was called back then. Was it parametric design, parametric modeling, algorithm modeling? I just knew that I would type numbers into a white, text editor, and it would give me back some points in Rhino, which was like, oh yeah, that's excellent. But obviously, things have progressed greatly since then. Tools came about. Lots of existing content creation tools now provide APIs or interfaces where you can, write your own small scripts, tap onto their SDKs, etc., which is excellent. And I guess this is where it really comes down to, like being able to build these small workflows, these small scripts, whatever you want to call them, these small like applications that are add-ons to help people that want to do a specific task but don't have the time or the capacity to code this by themselves, right? And again, not every designer has to be a coder. Yeah, they just have to use in some way the tools that are available to them, and there are lots of tools out there that are freely available for lots of people.
So second year realization would be one of the highlight. And
Yeah, yeah.
what about UCL?
And UCL, I mean, it was great experience because back back then it was like we started like doing Java. So this is where I started
Oh,
learning Java and then processing. So it was great because I spent just a year of my life like coding. Was it hard? Yes, but I think it was definitely worth it at the end of the day. And it gave me the opportunity to go deeper into, let's say, software development principles and try to look outside and see what's happening. Um, what would be the frameworks that I need to learn? Um, but obviously, I think like London itself is a great city because it gives you this input. I mean, a lot of the developers from existing software companies like Rano, for instance, they were here at the time. Other professionals, many of which you have interviewed already, were here at the time, or they were in the US. But they were all kind of loosely connected within an online forum. And we all know which forum I'm talking about. And they all know each other, but they haven't met. So I guess it was a very exciting time to be around. And obviously, I think I've met most of these people now from
mm-hmm.
this forum, except for one, Anders from Big. But I will meet him at some point. So I guess it was more like a holistic experience of, like getting knowledge on how to address like algorithms and code in a non-architectural way, but also like the city itself and the input you would get from both architectural practices and other events that were happening around here, and from the people, I guess. Even the people that taught us, they were great in that sense.
Nice. Yeah, like I hear stories about like early 2010 where people are going crazy with crossover and like, oh, we can
Hmm.
push the possibilities with this, and everywhere everything was so early that the excitement was at another level. People like, oh, I'm stuck at this. Can you help me out in the forum? And I was
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. For me, it was more like of my break between like other tasks. I would go on the forum. I would try to find someone that has a problem that is look kind of interesting, and I will try to solve it. Some kind of competition with yourself. Like, oh yeah, yeah, this is an interesting problem. Let me try to find a way to solve it. And then, I mean, I have to say, it's a great feeling to be able to crack down a problem. But also, at the end of the day, I learned from that,
Mm,
which is very important, right? And this is something I still have in my everyday work. I always try to engage with a task let's say for a part of the day or like a small, very small now because okay, obviously I'm a little bit more senior than I was 10 years ago. I'm trying to engage with a task that is gonna give me back some knowledge. And yeah, it's just like I think it's a good part of my work to be able to still have the capacity to look outside and find something that I'm interested in and try to solve it. You know, does it always work? Am I always solving the problem? Not really, but at least I'm always learning something,
Mm,
which is very important.
I see. And during your time at Archie Search, if I get it right, you were like doing complex geometry consultancy. So
Mhm.
how difficult was it? And like, can you share the process?
Before Foster's, you mean?
Yeah,
Or sorry.
yeah, before Foster's.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I was very junior, fresh out of uni. I mean, I think I had a very good understanding of its parametric modeling. My coding skills were okay. So it was I think also maybe like the opportunity was given maybe from the forums or I don't know, just people just started contacting me and they were like, oh yeah, we need some help with this problem, and can you help us? So yeah, I mean, it was interesting for me again, like solving geometrical problems. Uh, but I would say that this cannot really relate to the size of the scale of the problems or the scale of the buildings that I've actually um, managed to get my hands on here at Foster's. I mean, obviously it's completely different, and the how people push the design boundaries here is intense. If there's an idea, someone, no one's gonna say, "Oh no, let's not go for this because it's
Mm,
too crazy." They're gonna say, "Okay, how can we find a way to solve this, right? So we can actually make it, we can construct it." So again, I think I didn't come out of nowhere. I had a pretty kind of uh, as like my it wasn't like a very steep career trajectory, but it was like going up, I guess, in terms of complexity, in terms of skills, etc. Um, yeah, and so I enjoyed every part of it. I guess you can ask me what I didn't enjoy afterwards if you want. Yeah.
good. Uh, I'm gonna ask you a very difficult question. What's your
Okay.
favorite geometry math equation or theory? Or
Geometry math equation. We're talking about form finding ones.
like it's open ended, or
Yeah, I mean, I guess like um, I will reply a little bit different. I will reply with a building, uh, and it's not because I work for Foster's, but I the first time I saw the Swiss Re building in London, in the city of London, I was uh, I was shocked. The fact that I was standing below it and I couldn't see the top, and
mm,
the whole thing was blending into the sky, and this elegance of this very it's like a series of arcs really. It's not one arc, it's many arcs. It's not an elliptical profile. It's something that's very rational, something that was form found, something that it was based on data. It was form found by running many CFD simulations. So knowing back then when I was a student and visiting that, knowing that this was generated in a automated way. I didn't really
mm,
exactly know how it was. Um, Afterwards, when I joined Foster's, I learned. Uh, I was amazed. I was like, wow. I mean, it looks very simple, but it actually has a lot of complexity, and it has this purity of mathematics that I really enjoy. I really like pure forms, and I would say like for in terms of like building forms, there are many that I like, but this still is the one that is kind of engraved
mm.
in my mind as a picture. Like it was a profound experience being there and seeing how this thing is realized into a building.
Um, yeah, London has some amazing. Even when I was at Burhapol, the stadiums, the
Hmm.
roofs, and structurally challenging, and it's so beautiful. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And again, I want to say again that this like London is definitely a city that has this vibe of, you know, there are a few of the biggest architectural practices and engineering practices here. Um, Most of us are friends. We meet in, common meetups like Grasshopper Forum, Rhino Forum, like other conferences around here. It's a very nice community, and they're all professionals that I've I admire as colleagues. So again, very it's a great opportunity to exchange ideas with all these people, and progress your skills even better, even greater.
Yeah. Coming to your time now, like how does
Hmm.
a week in your life look like? Your time division between projects, R&D, technology, if you can share.
Yeah. So initially, I would say our group was more like of a more hands-on applied stuff, as in project support, and we still have a big part of that. But I think now we're about 50-50. Maybe sometimes it depends. We do more development, less development. And unfortunately, I do spend a lot of time on Outlook lately, which I don't appreciate. Um, uh, but I would say my other time in between projects and development is about again 50%. Um, I don't do that much work on my own uh, nowadays, as in applied stuff on projects, but we have like some excellent colleagues, junior members. Maybe some of those you met them as well when you visited, and they're ready to pick up this task and they deliver it to a very to I mean to an excellent state. Um, but obviously, is what I was saying previously, how you transfer knowledge, how you transfer the experience that you gain from all the failures all these years, like, oh yeah, this panelization doesn't work, or this is tricky, you might skew the panels, etc. um, um, but yeah, I always try to allow um, at least a couple of hours per day to write some code.
Mm,
uh, that, do I always achieve that? Maybe not, but I try to have a couple of hours that is just development time. And And by development, I don't mean like, being a scrum master and just setting tasks and goals. Just like going hands-on and writing some code, which again, I really enjoy. Apart from that, what I don't compromise is sports.
mm.
After work, basketball, tennis, that's what keeps me going, I guess. And coffee.
That's amazing. And can you share how a new tool development cycle or idea works? Is it a project needed tool
Mm,
development, or you could
mhm.
develop, okay, this tool could be used across multiple projects, so let's do a
Yeah.
3 months or 6 months sprint. Like, how does it?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question is uh it's both really, in a sense that at, at on instances we identify a need, an opportunity. Maybe it's a need, maybe it's an opportunity, where there is a recurring problem, right? More than three times from different design teams in the practice. It is amazing that we work with all the designers, all the architects in the practice, but also we work with all the other specialist groups, like central design groups, as we call them, which is our environmental engineering team, our structural engineering, the sustainability team, workplace consultancy. Again, very nice to get ideas out of these people because they're experts in their fields. Um, so one part is, there is an opportunity, we see something recurring, and we say, okay, maybe we should not, I mean, we can automate that, or maybe we can write something that the designers can use out of the box so they can, solve this problem that they're having. And I think also this is our focus in a way. We're trying to provide tools that are ready for our designers, that are at their disposal, and our let's say engagement is minimal in a sense on the process. We want the feedback to be rapid. We want their decision to be informed without us having to run something and send results back to them, etc. Right? If we're talking about performance optimization or something. Um, on the other hand, there are opportunities where people in within the team or people outside the team come to us with an idea um, about an application or a small piece of software, or you you it can be anything really, a special, let's say, XR application. Um, and I guess if it's a bigger scope of work, then you have to really understand whether the user, the recipient of this app, the recipient of this system, really needs this and really can use the system itself. Yeah. So I think again, this comes back to what I was saying previously, that we learned from the past. We're not. No, I wouldn't say naive. We're certainly excited, but we have more experience now, and we know what we need to ask, and the questions we need to ask to the users of the system, to the designers, on what their pain points are, and understand how we can tackle these pain points. Because even though the idea might be great, it might target the wrong pain point. Yeah,
Mm,
it can serve a purpose, but the pain point is not there. It might be somewhere else in the process. Um, but what you have to do is find this pain point and try to solve that. And I think this is very important, and we definitely have implemented this principle, I would say, in many of our newest applications. And it has helped us greatly because we can focus also our development efforts. We're very, let's say, organized, and we know what we want to achieve. But obviously, all of these by testing, like beta testers, which we have plenty because all of these are in-house applications, and our designers are really stretching the limits of technology, and we're very lucky on that end. Uh, from beta testers or from alpha testers or from normal users of the systems, if we deploy them, um, we understand what is the next step, or what might have gone wrong in the previous steps. So it's always, it's a continuous effort. It's an iterative process, or more iterative, but yeah, also cyclical in a sense. You go back and you reconfigure things. Um, but it's not something that we just throw out there and then we don't touch it again. We always support it. We always update it.
I
So yeah,
see.
it's very exciting.
Mm. That's a great point you mentioned. And I was wondering, do you have internal culture of hackathon, or how do you breed more ideas or pain points identification from designers and technologists?
So we haven't really done a hackathon in the team internally. There were some thoughts about that. We have regular development meetings
Mm,
to understand what has been developed across the team, and these are like purely like tech stacks, etc., new implementations. We have research meetings, so how we bring back knowledge from conferences, etc. This is how we uh, disseminate knowledge, how we cross, let's say, pollinate within the team. We have also like we communicate this practice wide as well with talks. I think it's very important for people know what we can do and how they can reach out to us. Um, but I would say that I don't know if you heard about this, but we're gonna be hosting the AEC Tech Hackathon in London.
oh,
In I think it's April. Obviously TT Core is organizing that. Lovely people. We always participate in the New York one, So they announced it over there like in November. So we're gonna be hosting it in April. So we're very happy about that, and we're really looking forward to hosting, people from outside to like, kind of engage in like building applications, having great hacking ideas. So very excited. But yeah, hopefully we can have internal hackathons at some point. We haven't done it yet.
I see.
But trust me, Mayur, there are plenty of problems that we have in the backlog that we need to solve, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
big luck, but it's great. And uh, I'm looking forward. That you guys are hosting, and I'm guessing it's the first time in London. TT AEC Tech Hackathon is.
I think so because yeah, the last time didn't happen because we went into the pandemic. It was supposed
Mm,
to happen, I think, at Crenshaw. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it never happened because it was 2020. But yeah, it's gonna be great, and the London community is very big, so hopefully it's gonna be like high attendance,
yeah, and your
sold
campus
out
is
completely.
amazing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
one
Hopefully
more
people are
reason to
going.
attend.
Hopefully people are gonna enjoy like hacking throughout the night here.
Yeah, I mean, Marius, you just mentioned about conference, and one thing I really liked about Foster's and partners.
Mm,
So you guys were going to SIGGRAPH and like
hmm
non-architecture conferences as well,
hmm
apart from Acadia or AU, which a
hmm
lot. So can you set how the culture of that was set, and like, because that learnings also brings a very different perspective of what's the development in computer graphics industry or AI in other industries, and translate that as like applications into the
hmm
firms. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure how the culture of going to these conferences began. Um, because it was before I joined. So this has been going for many years. Like people like in the team that are like Martha, for instance, if you've met already, she has been going to SIGGRAPH for like more than a decade, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not sure how it started, but I can definitely understand the benefits. Not to undermine like architectural computational design conferences or computer aided design conferences in any way. Um, but I think we just wanted to get the technology from the source
Mhm.
and being able to scale it up. Um, so do I understand all the technical papers in SIGGRAPH and all the mathematics behind that? Most probably not. I understand basic principles, but I see the opportunities of how, let's say, we can apply this into our practice. And we're always open to explore different conferences and different stacks. We attend a lot of machine learning, kind of state-of-the-art machine learning conferences as well. Um, some of them for our backend developers and front-end developers, they are more focused on specific stacks, let's say. Let's say maybe it's like a Java script conference, React, maybe specific. Um, So we tried to be very open-minded about this, and I think it has benefited us greatly as a team. We still enjoy, architectural conferences. We still send people to those. I think it's good to understand what's happening, both in other practices or in the academic circles. Some of the presentations that I've seen in Acadia and in Cadria last year, for instance. They were great, and people are doing excellent work, even in academia. The mentality has changed in the sense that people build apps, use meaningful ways for utilizing machine learning, for instance. Uh, so it's a great opportunity to see how can we scale this up, you know, because it has to go beyond, let's say, a pavilion implementation or something. If you want to to be in a certain environment as Foster and Partners, which we actually build like very massive projects.
I see. And you also teach at UCL. Can you share a bit
Yeah,
about the philosophy and what?
yeah. I mean, teaching for me is again something that I enjoy. It's I wouldn't say it's a break from work because I really enjoy what I'm doing as well. So I hear like I never complained about work. I mean, I generally don't complain about working. Like I'm very, I'm not a, I wouldn't say I'm a workaholic, but I think I had a great work ethos. But it is something that is kind of refreshing in a sense. Um, uh, it has its challenges, but I guess what I personally gain out of teaching is apart from, the fact that, students sometimes can think outside the box and they can come up with great ideas. And it's very nice to actually push them into the technology realm and have them, see beyond architecture, beyond the CAD package, for instance, and how, they can create other stuff with what is available at them nowadays. Beyond that, which is very important, what at the end of the day, when someone comes back to me at the end of the year on the graduate show at the Bartlett, and they're like, "Oh well, actually, I learned something this year." I think that's the greater accomplishment for
Mm,
me, and this is where I actually feel that I contributed uh, to just pushing the boundaries of computation in a sense, little, but again, someone has this opportunity now to understand that this beyond there's something beyond drafting, there's something beyond Grasshopper that they can actually utilize in their profession, or maybe they can go to another field as well. It's more about the thinking in ways
mm,
of automation, of streamlining processes, of creating workflows, and I think these are principles that apply to all industries, right? It's not only for us. Um, so yeah, I think it's more like setting some very nice foundation for people to be free of constraints that they had in the past of traditional, let's say, education, and be more technology aware and embrace technology at the end of the day. See technology as their friend, as their not, I wouldn't say tool, I would say like as something that's enhancing them, that something that is improving them rather than something that scares them.
mm. And do you find any missing gap of like theoretical content or in general more courses on technology in architecture? Because uh, depending on the school,
Hmm.
they have a different philosophy of teaching, and some are more technology oriented, some are less. So, what do you think is the biggest missing point right now?
I mean, it's difficult for me to talk about schools that hypothetically they're not very technology oriented because I'm not teaching there, so I
Mm,
wouldn't know. Uh, I know that when I started, the school wasn't very technology oriented. It was building technology and more traditional. That's why I wanted to do other stuff. I'm not, I think like nowadays, every university, at least maybe on the master level or like all kind of after your bachelor's, they do have a digital agenda. They do promote, you know, thinking in different ways, at least using some of these tools like parametric modeling tools, simple parametric modeling, which is like, I think it's something that you should learn as you learn about building technology, because it definitely improves uh, your everyday life as a professional at the end of the day. Um, so I'm not sure what these guys are missing out, or if they're missing out anything, or but I really appreciate like schools in London and other institutions in the States where and in as specifically like the Bartlett and UCL, AEA, for instance, they have a very open mindset about narratives and about the design goals and about how far they push technology, and to which extent this kind of applies to the industry, I don't know, but at least there's some very nice explorations that I believe they should go beyond, the classic architecture curriculum.
Mm.
And do they need to be in their bachelor? Can they be a master's degree? Absolutely, yes. I mean, I'm not building, uh, uh, degrees or anything, so I'm not. It's not really my domain of expertise. But what I enjoy is the also like my colleagues, people that I teach there, and I mean, most of the applied R&D team also is associated in one way or another with teaching.
Mm.
Um, they are very open-minded and they're very good professionals as well. So, and they deliver top content to the students, which is great,
Yeah.
you know, if the students decide to receive this content.
Yeah, I was coming from the point like, okay, there are schools who might benefit from, like, because you guys are very much on the cutting edge and very
Hmm.
much advanced, but for schools who are not getting such quality, like technology oriented education, what
Hmm.
are like some things you'd like? So one aspect you mentioned about like thinking about automation or computational thinking
Hmm. Hmm.
is the foundation you're trying to achieve throughout your teaching. So is that something someone can learn from YouTube videos or something else?
I guess for me, the yes, I think knowledge is up to us at the end of the day, how we absorb knowledge. You can if you can focus on a YouTube video, obviously you can do it on a tutorial. I was never able to do that.
Mm.
I was more I want to have a goal and try to build something that achieves this goal. I'm very goal driven and that's how I learn. And what I mentioned previously, it's exactly the same thing. I was going on the forum, I was finding a problem, and then I was trying to figure out the way to solve it. Was I watching videos in the meantime? Was I going on Stack Overflow to look what other people have done? Was I copy and pasting code? Yes,
Mm.
absolutely. I mean, I'm not claiming that I've written everything from scratch, but it's more of kind of setting a goal and going through that. And I think with the students, especially on a master's level, it's just the same thing, like setting a goal, whether it's design or automation goal or computational design goal, and try to learn as much out of that and be a master on this problem
Mm.
and try to master the tools that you're using through this process is very important. Yes, the teaching depends on the content you receive, the quality of the tutors, etc. But I guess, like, I mean, educational institutions are not like they this is what they do, right? They hire like good people to teach. Otherwise, they wouldn't have them there. So I'm not worried about the education at all. I guess.
I see. Cool.
Hmm.
You mentioned about building internal tools. I was
Hmm.
curious, how do you evaluate whether this is something you should build internally or adopt a third-party solution or a startup solution? Is it worth spending R&D money and time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure if I have an answer to that. What I can tell with confidence is that if there's a solution out there that fits certain criteria and is already there and it's very powerful and it does what we wanted to do, we will adopt it, right?
Mm.
And we will advocate that to the practice as well. So we've done it with many cases of products that are out there, and because you don't need to reinvent the wheel, you don't need to have everything from scratch. You don't need to have a copy of an in-house model for everything that's out there. Um, but obviously, there are other aspects to that. For instance, um, you know, what are the requirements of the specific requirements of our designers? For instance, if it's something very tailored to the way that FNP works, then unfortunately you cannot. depend on external solutions, right? If it's something that is a universal solution to a very specific problem, obviously, yes. I mean, you adopt a tool, and why would we waste resources on that? We're just going to focus on another task that is not solved already. Yeah,
Got it.
I think
Makes
I
makes
think
a
I,
lot of
I think
sense.
I think it's like you have to leave your ego aside in these cases. We all want to build great tools, and we all want to think that we're doing great. But again, like that some other applications are out there and they're excellent. So yeah, we'll definitely use them.
Yeah. I'm super curious to know if you have any hot takes on Gen AI. What are the myths, hype, and actual usefulness?
I mean, well, I mean the main, I think like in our industry, the adoption of generative AI is kind of focused more on the image making, like
Hmm.
all the diffusion models, which is excellent, I think. There are amazing applications out there uh, that provide more control to users with some sort of control net or in painting applications. I mean, we all know who they are. I don't want to advertise anyone, but I don't mind advertising or anything. Um, or let's say training LoRa's to specific styles, etc., um, which are great, and they definitely will benefit, the profession. Uh, I mean, they're benefiting the profession now. They're also benefiting, they will benefit it in the future. The fact that we are in a profession that we are into the image making, we provide experiences. So the fact that you can actually have a control net and you can have a very good looking rendering with a few people missing a hand or two out there, but it's like something that gives an impression of a design that is close to what you've imagined without having to wait for a day for a rendering to come back. I think this is very important, especially for early decision making, and to know what route you're going to follow. But yeah, generative AI goes way beyond that. Yeah. And I am frankly more excited about um, the non-image, let's say, focused side of generative AI, like especially like LLMs, GPTs, how we can, just understand our data as an industry through those, how we can spread the knowledge within our peers through these tools, how we can disseminate knowledge, how we can automate tasks um, that are real bottlenecks in the design process and in the process of building as well, construction documentation, reporting, um, guidelines, all of these specifications, all of these, and especially as much, the more standardized the process is, the bigger opportunity there is for, an application of generative AI on that. So I feel this is where I would like, things to be focusing on the next couple of years, um, because I think it's going to streamline the way that we work as an industry, and yeah, it's going to definitely benefit a lot of people. And you know, at the end of the day, um, reduce, I don't know, potentially liability, etc. It's like it's a very costly industry. Mistakes of that in the construction really hurt in a sense. You cannot really tear down a building and build it again. Um, so I hope like, AI is going to provide, this reassurance and this confidence that, it has been checked out and it's been unit tested, let's say, and we know that this is good to go.
Yes. Uh, any thoughts on agents for workflow automations?
Uh, yeah, I mean, again, it's part of the same process where how you can um, teach an agent to perform a task that you would otherwise do on your own. Um, I haven't really seen any good examples in our industry. The most interesting ones that I've seen are the ones that have to do with most probably web interactions. Like,
Yeah.
you set a goal, and then you have an agent just trying to do whatever you would do in normal life, but 10 times faster and more specific, and it gets a great result at the end of the day. I really hope that this becomes the case in our industry as well at some point. There is a little bit of I mean, I would say the playground is not the same as you are on a website, or you can do everything through the internet. Because if you try to, for instance, automate something on between software or between applications, there's definitely going to be a lot of manual processes going on. Again, doesn't need to be a super intelligent agent, not really, but uh, I think potentially it would be the case when we start structuring our data in a better way and have more interoperability between our other systems. So this agent can actually be able to go across applications in a sense. Um, yeah.
Yeah, nothing like that stands out yet. And I'm
I don't know. I mean, maybe I missed the current news, but I'm more than happy if you know any examples. I mean, I'm more than happy to look into that. I mean, obviously, uh, yeah, there's a very good examples with reinforcement learning and how this you can learn variables of problems that you would actually need to solve like very big equations to find them just by having an agent in Unity and trying to learn something, which is great. And we've done plenty of examples like that in our group. But I'm again really exciting to see how this is gonna come in the future, like with actual agents that automate workflows.
yeah. One thing I'm observed is like there are a lot of like AI for 3D geometry creation. We
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
okay, create an image with stable diffusion and then use the geometry and like do multi-view synthesis. But either all the phases or the geometry is stitched, so it's not useful yet in architecture because you want like walls, floors, everything to be of
Yeah.
different mesh and segments. So are we there yet, even for 3D geometry creation with AI?
I think I definitely want to think that's gonna happen sooner than later. I'm not gonna give an estimate because every time I give an estimate, I'm always, off. Because I was like, yeah, maybe a year, and then people started getting 3D models out in 2 months' time. Obviously, you understand that the problem, the dimensionality, like increases exponentially when you go from a two-dimensional array, which is pixels, to a three-dimensional array, and moreover, when you try to introduce, let's say, semantic understanding of this, like or relationships between elements, how do you have these embeddings into the training? Is something I vaguely understand, but I think it's the job of like a very good machine learning engineers to do. I mean, there are many great examples, but I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be the case in the future, right? Now, the question is, do we have like data that can be used as um, a structured data set for this now at the moment? No, we don't, but let's see. I'm very optimistic about this happening at one point or another.
Yes. I have a rapid fire round to end the interview, but before that, is there any topic or message which we haven't talked about or shared you would like to
I
say?
think not really. We can have another session if you want. When there follow up. I just want to again. I want to stress out the fact that, and I think this is the opinion or the goal of the team in general, of Applied R&D and myself personally. Not, we shouldn't be afraid of technology. Technology is something that enables us to do greater things. So we should embrace technology, be open about all these tools. Like, this is something what I say to my students. I'm like, guys, you guys are so lucky. You live in this era where you can actually type in a system and then you can get an answer back. And I had to go on a forum on a crappy internet connection and wait for the whole page to load to see what people have written, and you get answers in seconds, and they're roughly correct. Um, so I was like, this is very exciting, and you should embrace it, right? You shouldn't be scared to experiment with all these tools out there, whether it's AI or not. Um, so yeah, and I think that's my takeaway, like embracing technology and like try to adopt technology and us to adapt through technology to the new challenges of the professions, because all the professions are going to change sooner than later, and they have been changing throughout the decades. I think now it's a little bit more accelerated, which is also more exciting, you don't end up 10 years doing the same exact thing. You just do different things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you are like a very like adaptive mind, you would love this era.
No, I'm very optimistic in general as a person. So yeah,
Yeah,
good.
but that's a great, even good title for the YouTube. Adopt or adapt through technology.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the rapid fire, which most of the guests
Hmm.
don't follow the rules. So I'll see if you. So you only have like less than 5-10 seconds to answer, and you have to keep the answer super brief.
Hmm.
So, uh, who's your role model?
No comment.
Uh,
Giannis Antetokounmpo, because of his work ethics.
okay. Uh, any book which made a big impact in your life?
Mm, I think um, Do Androids Dream of Electric Ship? I think
Your favorite?
I really like sci-fi.
Keep super brief, super brief. Uh,
Mm.
your favorite movie?
Mm, don't think I have one.
Yeah,
I can answer like
favorite?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. uh, favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? Obviously anything Greek.
Mm, playing very vague here. Okay. Nice. uh, city on your travel bucket list?
uh, Ho Chi Minh.
I see. Uh, are you a mountain person or a beach person?
That's a tricky one. Beach.
Okay.
I'm Greek, so I have to go with that.
Best piece of advice you have received till date?
Mm, one of my tutors told me once in uni, don't worry about it, because I was trying to do something with computation. And it's like, don't worry about it. I was like, it was a good advice. I didn't worry about it. So I found my way.
If you have unlimited time and resources, what would you do?
Uh, work from an isolated island in the Aegean Sea. I would still work.
Advice to 18-year-old Marius.
Apply for computer science rather than architecture. I,
All right. That's it, Marius.
that's
It
it.
was awesome hosting you.
No,
And
it was excellent. Thank you for having me, and I'm very very happy that we did this, and for meeting you last week as well.
yeah, likewise.
So I'll see you soon, I hope.